Welcome back to the morning show here on Rise News. Governor Semenitari Fubara's camp has been engulfed with excitement following the resignation of commissioners loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Recall that about 5 commissioners on Wednesday resigned from the River State Executive Council, citing the lingering political crisis in the state as their reasons. Prior to Wednesday, about 2 commissioners had quit the government after the governor reshuffled the cabinet. The resignations follow the ongoing political supremacy battle between Fubara and his predecessor, Wike. Meanwhile, River State Governor Semenitari Fubara has warned that any outgoing local government chairman in the state who hurts any Rivers person will not be forgiven. The governor was referring to an event that happened on Tuesday where a group of persons allegedly attacked some persons who attended the inauguration of the Aleto Ogale Ebubu Etio road project on their way home. Governor Fubara gave the warning at Egbeda community where he flagged off a road project.
When we left Aleto the other day, some people went there and attacked our people. There's no need for it. Nobody is a monopoly or has monopoly of violence. I should be the one who will even come and shout that I will do this, I will do that. But I don't need to do that because both sides belong to me. So I'm advising those people who call themselves local government chairmen. You have a few days in office. Please conduct yourself. Politics will come, politics will go. We will still live our lives. Let anybody not deceive you. If you deliberately hurt anybody in the course of maybe expressing your useless support, nobody will forgive you. You will pay for it. So I'm begging everyone, please conduct.
Joining us now as we look at governance in River State amid the political crisis is Ibim Semenitari, River State former Commissioner for Information and Communication. Good morning, madam, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, Ibim.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. It's good to be on the morning show. How are you guys?
Good to see you.
Well, thank you.
Well, let me ask you straight off that how is life in the jungle? Because the other day, Governor Fubara told us that the jungle has matured, and that's reference to River State.
Well, I don't know. Ruben, I don't know which jungle. The jungle has matured is a Nigerian parlance. River State is certainly a beautiful state with rivulets and creeks and lovely buildings, and we think you should come because so you can come and enjoy a bit of good sea breeze. It's good for your health.
Well, but the story we're hearing, Governor Fubara versus Wike. Now, as at the last count, 7 commissioners have resigned. The State House of Assembly has 2 factions, a 25-member faction, a 3-member faction, and it looks like the governance process is really problematic. Now, Governor Fubara himself is reporting that certain persons have been attacking his own supporters. So, I mean, that doesn't look like a very peaceful place where there is a threat and the reality of violence. What exactly is going on from your own perspective?
So I'm going to, first I would say that is River State peaceful? Yes, it is. The streets are peaceful. We're doing our business. People are going about their lives. You know, there's this thing about a storm in a teacup. And so it looks like life doesn't begin and end with a handful of people who have political power. That certainly cannot define a place. That cannot define what's going on in River State. People are doing their business. People are doing what they need to do. A couple of friends may have a disagreement. That certainly cannot define an entire population of 5.6 million people. having said that, it's pretty much the way people look at Nigeria and say, how are you surviving in Nigeria? We hear Nigeria is this. We hear Lagos is, for me, for many people in Rivers State, when I lived and did business in Lagos, they would be like, how are you surviving in Lagos? We hear that they just steal people on the road. We think they just carry things from your pocket. So it's really, if you go with that, then, I mean, look at the statistics that just came out from the National Bureau of Statistics that show that in terms of safety, the South and the Southeast are the safest parts of this country. Who would have thought if you didn't look at data? But I'd put that aside. With regards to day-to-day living, people are going about their business. Yes, people have resigned from cabinet, and I like the way Ayo put it. She said people loyal, commissioners loyal to the minister. So it only makes sense that if you don't agree with a man, you don't work with him. You serve at the pleasure of your principal. And if you don't consider the man your principal, you consider someone else your principal, then you really, in good conscience, have no business serving on his cabinet. You cannot say that I am loyal to John and then I'll work with Peter. I mean, it really doesn't make sense. So if you do have a modicum of integrity, you will serve only someone whose principles and vision you believe in. Because your job as commissioner is to interpret the principles and policies of your principal. That's your duty. Your job as commissioner is to advise the governor with regards to your sector, because you're considered to be able to bring something to the table, and then to translate the vision of the governor in that sector when you go back to the MDAs. So that's why you're a member of the Executive Council. So you take the vision of your governor, you go back to your ministry, in my case it was the Ministry of Information, and you say, this is the focus of government with regards to information and communications. And then the civil servants look at that vision and say, okay, if this is the vision of this government, this is how this vision can be interpreted. Now, if you're a commissioner and you do not believe in the principles of the man who is your principal, then you have no business serving under him. So if people choose to resign because they do not believe in the principles of the person, or they're loyal to someone else, then they're within their rights so to do. And I don't think, honestly, that Nigeria or Rivers State should go up in flames because someone left a job that he chose not to do.
All right. Well said. Okay, so I hear you that things are peaceful in Rivers State, but you cannot deny the fact that even the governor spoke about some miscreants attacking his supporters at the launch of the Aleto Gale Ebubu Etio road project just this week. So it's actually degenerating to physical, to violence in some parts. That's one. On the other hand, what we've consistently asked on this table is, how are the people of Rivers faring? Because whether you like it or not, this crisis or this political face-off has overshadowed some critical work that ought to be done in Rivers, with the Rivers people at the center of governance. I mean, if commissioners are resigning, then those ministries themselves would also need a new leadership. So it's a big distraction from governance. What do you have to say about this? How are the people faring? What is happening? Just, I mean,
the people are faring fine. And let me take you back to this issue of if commissioners are resigning. I'll share my personal experience. So I traveled as Commissioner for Information with a team from Rivers State to Pennsylvania. We won the delegation of our governor, then Governor Chibuike Rotimi Amechi. And he had a meeting with the governor of Pennsylvania. It was to discuss collaboration between Rivers State and Pennsylvania State with regards to learning how to deal with road construction. All right? And we got to that meeting. The two governors had a handshake and all of that, and agreed that this is something they wanted to do. And they said, we'll leave it to our people to go ahead and have a conversation. So they finished and we went into that meeting. At the meeting was all of us commissioners from Rivers State. On the other side was only the commissioner for the Secretary of Transportation for Pennsylvania State, who is the commissioner equivalent. Every other person on that panel were the civil servants. Now here's what happened. We sat down and the Secretary of Transportation said, okay, welcome guys. Yes, we're glad we'll be collaborating. We'll just leave it to the bureaucrats to sort it out. And he left the room. The rest of us were not. We had just 1 or 2 people who were from the ministry. So we had to go back because the questions the bureaucrats were asking, only our bureaucrats could have answered. But that left one strong thing on my mind. So we had to, people from Ministry of Works had to go back, the civil servants this time. Now, there's a reason the permanent secretary is the chairman of the ministry tenders board. It is because the people who run the ministry are the bureaucrats. I told you what the commissioner's role is. The commissioner's role is to say, this is what governor wants to do in this area. The people who come down and bring it down to brass tacks are the bureaucrats. The reason the US works and the UK works, regardless of if it is Labour or the Conservative power, the Conservative Party in power, the reason they work is because the institutions work. It is the bureaucracy that runs government. Don't kid yourself. The commissioner. So if you have, so for instance, you have a lawyer who is commissioner for agriculture. The person who is going to come out with agricultural policies is the person in the ministry. He will just interpret the governor's vision that says, I want to ensure that we grow smallholder farmers. That's a vision. You take it back to the experts. So the ministries are running fine. The people of Rivers State are actually running fine. So what is happening? People are being promoted. Salaries are being paid. Now, promotions that have now happened over more than 8 years have happened. All right? These commissionings that we're doing are things that Semenitari started and finished. You go to the state institutions, they are functioning and functioning well. Would it be nice to have all the commissioners there? Yes. Is there a bit of discomfort arising from some of the crises? Oh, of course. A lot of it is more political than with regards to the bureaucracy. Because the bureaucracy is running, And yes, did you have the skirmish, for instance, that you talked about in Aleto? Yes. And I'm glad you said miscreants. Aleto is such a small part of one local government out of the 23 local government areas. Do we want to see those things happening everywhere? No. Yesterday I was at Egbeda. And the commissioning went on. We finished, we left. Everywhere was quiet. I haven't heard that anything happened after that. And okay. I'm hoping that I don't hear.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is that...
Okay. I mean, good to talk to you again.
I'm sorry, you want to say something?
All right. Good to talk to you again, Ibim Semenitari. Good to see you again after a very long time. I would like to say this. I mean, I get the slants. You want to make us feel like everything is well. Yeah, everything is well. Things are going. Life will definitely continue. But things are not well as regards the polity. Take, for instance, a budget now is a bone of contention. A budget that was passed by some lawmakers, like 3 or 4 of them. Now they are saying the budget ought to be brought back to the parliamentarians to look at it again. The governor just visited where the lawmakers stay, and the lawmakers are judging that he wants to destroy their homes. Then there's a lot of back and forth and political seeding here and there. The state politically is tense, and you can't deny that fact. But you also come from a long line of politics based on your father, former deputy governor of that state. He held a great position in that state. What do you think Papa will have said with all of this rancor? The great Papa Toby himself. What do you think he'll have said with all of this rancor going on in Rivers State?
I've tried, sometimes you don't want to sound like you're taking sides, yet it's important. So I just want to speak just as a human being. And I'd like everyone listening and you on that side to speak as a human being. All right. You're governor of a state. There can only be one governor at a time. It would be crazy if we had to have 3 governors. That's not what our constitution says. And so if there is one governor, let the governor govern. That's my position. That would be the position of any right thinking person, I think. Because we've heard people say the same thing. There's one president at a time. And now you may have fantastic ideas as to what the president should do, but you're not the president. Right? So let the president fail or do well. And thankfully, there are instruments to determine if that president should stay on. But a situation where you want to railroad someone, where you want to treat someone with ignominy, I don't think that's fair. And I use the word fair because I'm a Rotarian, and the first thing we ask ourselves when we look at the four-way test is it the truth? But something else we ask ourselves is it fair to all concerned? Is it fair to the people of Rivers State that they're being compelled because of the interest of just a tiny percentage of the population to be, you go somewhere and say you're a Rivers person, they say, Rivers State, oh, how now they manage? It's annoying. It's in fact embarrassing. And yet, this is a beautiful state with peaceful people. The average Rivers person is peaceful.
So I would
doesn't
think
have strength for trouble. Wants to just enjoy their native soup in peace and enjoy our periwinkle. Ruben, you need to come and
can you hear me,
periwinkle.
ma? So is it fair narrative to
Yes,
Mr.
I
Yisom Wike that is causing all of this? Is this to Yisom Wike?
I don't know. You know that I'm on television, you see, and I don't know. But you're listening and you're seeing. You just said commissioners loyal to the FCT minister. If I appoint you commissioner, your loyalty should be to me because you serve at my pleasure.
Okay,
Abi?
Okay,
Yeah.
When you people, the media, right, they say lawmakers loyal to the FCT minister, they were elected by Rivers people to serve their constituencies. So if a name keeps coming up in the conversation, then rightly or wrongly, you might find people saying, it looks like this is the man causing the trouble.
Ibim, it's not that it looks like.
It's just logic.
No, it's not logic. Even Minister Wike himself has used his own mouth to say that he regrets, supporting Fubara to become a governor. And all the persons who have resigned, they've also said publicly that they are Wike's men. So, no, don't let us put lipstick on it. But let me ask you. When you also said that,
yes.
Look, when people talk about Rivers State, they ask, how are you people coping? Because for the past 1 year or thereabouts, the big stories that have been coming out of Rivers State, have been about conflict, about threat of impeachment, about demolition and threat of demolition, about how people are supposed to day their day, day your day, a day my day, and all of that. We have had very little about achievements, about efforts, except in the last 2 days that we have just had Governor Fubara going to commission a road or going to flag off a road construction. That's just this week. Now, May 29 will soon be here.
Yeah, so you know.
So what are the achievements that Governor Fubara will present to the people of Rivers State as proof of his stewardship? You are there, you are on the ground. Have you seen anything in terms of, concrete efforts?
Yeah, and I can't claim to speak for government, but I can at least tell you the things that I know have happened. I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, 3,990 something people received microcredits, and not just micro, actually. They got loans, nano businesses, micro businesses, small businesses, and medium businesses. 52% of that number were women, 48% were men. 3,992. That's something. Now, 1,000 doctors have been employed because there was a gap with regards to doctors, with more employments underway. That's another. Civil servants have been promoted who haven't been promoted in the last 10 to 12 years. That's a plus. Local government staff who had not been promoted, some of them 3 steps further, all got promoted. That's a plus. 39 projects started by the last administration have been paid for and completed, with more payments ongoing. That's a plus. And unfortunately, you're dealing with a governor who probably just thinks, I should just do my job anyway, because the reason you elected me is to do these things. You did not elect me so you can come and dance every time I commission something. But I guess the Nigerian thing is, oh, you know, a governor commissions a road, which is why we elected him, and we go and congratulate him that, oh, Oga, well done for giving us the road. It's our money, not me. You are giving us the road that we elected you to give us. You're building the school that we elected you to build. You're giving us the hospitals that we asked you to come and give us. You promised us you will give us those things, and you asked for our vote. We gave you the vote. Give it to us. And I think that if we begin to demand and ask those questions and say to the people we elect that it's our right, it's not a favor. You build a road for me to drive on with my taxes. You didn't do me a favor. It's my right. And that's the perspective I think Governor Fubara appears to have, because when you hear him speak, he says, this is what we're supposed to be doing. All right? So in terms of work done, and I was listening to the Commissioner for Information earlier this morning, he was on Kakaki, and he was reeling out all of these things that they had done. The roads being commissioned in this 20 days commissioning are roads this governor started and completed. The schools that they have rebuilt, the hospitals they have rebuilt, he doesn't want to include those because he says, you know, we're supposed to do it anyway. The only road that he didn't start is the Tema Road, the Emoha Tema Road, which he took over. Yeah, 23% of that was paid for before he came. He paid the balance of 87%. So he felt, okay, well, this is so. Yeah, on that road. So you're having commissionings going on. You're having roads completed. When people say we're starting today, we're finishing so day, and payments actually made. And then there's an investment summit and so on and so forth. But the most important thing, Ruben, is that the only way you can tell if River State is crazy is if you come. You should come. Come on. I'm going to take you to, so I can eat some native soup. It's been a long time you came around. You and Rufai and Ayo, 3 of you should come. 3 of you should come. We've got plenty of seafood.
Thank you for the invitation. They were looking forward to more stories from Rivers, particularly when the panel of inquiry begins to sit, as promised by Governor Fubara. Well, thank you very much, Ibim Semenitari, former Commissioner for Information and Communications, Rivers State.